So this Joule or Brayton cycle, all gas turbines, the basic cycle for gas turbines. Gas turbines works based on Joule cycle or Brayton cycle, right? Tell me, what are the applications for gas turbines? Where we will use gas turbines? Where we will use gas turbines? Main application is aviation.
Yes,
Right?
aeroplane.
So aviation means
Yes,
in jet engines, rocket engines. Okay, even some of the industries also we are using these gas turbines. Okay, so these are applications, sir. Main application is aviation. Okay, in jet planes and rockets, so we are going to use gas turbine, right? So here the main advantage of the gas turbine is lighter in weight compared to IC engines. The parts are lighter in weight, and here there is no reciprocating motion, only rotary motion will be there. So due to that, vibrations are avoided, no vibration at all. Vibration is not there, and need not to go for flywheel, because of the rotary motion. Okay, we will see how it will be written. So first know the what are the applications. Okay, and the main drawback is starting will be difficult. It will take certain time. Quick starting is not possible. Starting is not quick, not immediate, we can say. Okay, so basically Joule cycle or Brayton cycle consists of 4 elements. One is the compressor, second one is the combustion chamber, and the third one gas turbine, right now. So last one will be heat exchanger. We can call it also condenser also, heat exchanger. Okay, so this is closed cycle gas turbine. What we are studying is closed cycle, right? So these are the main 4 elements of the gas turbine. Okay, so let me draw symbolically. First, compressor will be there. So compressor is a device which is used to raise the pressure of the fluid, and here we have turbine. In the turbine, work is going to done. That is nothing but expansion is going to take place. The fluid is going to expand, and here we have combustion chamber CC. This is compressor, and this compressor is of rotary type. It's not reciprocating, rotary type compressor. You can say centrifugal or axial. Okay, and this is the gas turbine, and here we have heat exchanger. Here's the heat exchanger. Okay, right now the connection will be like this. So compressor will take the air from the atmosphere, and it will raise its pressure, and high pressure, high temperature air will be supplied to the combustion chamber. In the combustion chamber, heat will be added, means fuel will be supplied. I can call it as heat addition in the combustion chamber. So due to that, high pressure, high temperature gases will be liberated. So those gases are expanded over the blades of the turbine, right? And if you see, this compressor shaft and turbine shaft are coupled to each other. This is the shaft of the turbine. So this is the shaft of the turbine. So this is the work done by the turbine. Okay. So if you see, the turbine shaft and compressor shaft are coupled. What does it mean? Can anyone? What is the meaning?
Part of the work done by the turbine is delivered to the compressor.
Very good. The part of the work done by the turbine is utilized to drive the compressor. Attend the class. Your diploma, right? Go and attend the class first. Right. Now, so compressor, combustion chamber, turbine, and heat exchanger. Okay. Right. So here, first coming to the working. Okay. Let us consider this is state 1. Entry to the compressor. Entry to the combustion chamber is state 2. Entry to the turbine is state 3. And entry to the heat exchanger is state 4, right? So here, where heat will be added in the combustion chamber, and heat will be rejected from the heat exchanger. Okay, right. Now, so the air from the atmosphere is sucked into the compressor. So what is the pressure at this point? So this is atmospheric pressure and atmospheric temperature. So room pressure, room temperature, right? Now, so the air will be compressed isentropically here. So basically 4 processes are there in this one. Okay, so 2 are isentropic process. We will draw PVTS diagrams also. 2 isentropic processes and 2 constant pressure process. 2 constant pressure process. Okay, right. So here compression is isentropic, expansion is isentropic. So 2 isentropic processes, one is the compression inside the air compressor and expansion inside the turbine. These 2 processes are isentropic process, or we can also call it as reversible adiabatic process. And remaining this heat addition and heat rejection. So heat addition and heat rejection are taking place at the constant pressure. Okay, right. So here air from the atmosphere is sucked into the compressor. This is a rotary type compressor, and it will be compressed. Therefore, its pressure and temperature will be raised. Okay, so that high pressure, high temperature air is supplied to the combustion chamber. Right now, right, in case of diesel engine, you don't know knowledge of that. Okay, let it be now. So the high pressure, high temperature air will be admitted into the combustion chamber, and at that instant of time, we are injecting the fuel. So due to the high temperature of the air, immediately the fuel, after injecting the fuel into the combustion chamber, the burning of the fuel will take place. We can say that the combustion of the fuel will take place. Due to the burning of the fuel, what will happen? High pressure and high temperature gases will be liberated. So the high pressure, high temperature gases will be liberated. Those gases are allowed to pass through the blades of the gas turbine. Right now, so those gases are allowed to pass through the blades of the gas turbine. So therefore, during this process, the gas will expand. Therefore, the shaft of the turbine will rotate. So right. So if you see that compressor shaft is also coupled to the turbine shaft. So therefore, the work required to drive the compressor is consumed from the turbine. So the remaining right now work will be utilized for the requirement. Then after expansion, the gases are allowed to pass through the heat exchanger. So right. So what will happen? So the heat will be liberated to the atmosphere, and only air will be sucked into the compressor, and thus the cycle is repeated. Okay. Again, one more advantage of this gas turbine over the IC engine is lubrication is not required. So lubrication is effective here in the absence of moving parts. So lubrication is easy, and only thing is we required cooling for the blades of the turbine. That's it. Lubrication is not a problem in case of the gas turbine. Okay. And let me draw PVTS diagram. Right. So 122, it is the isentropic compression process. 122 isentropic compression process means in TS diagram it will be vertical line, right? In PV diagram it will be curve. 122. Again 324 is also isentropic process. It is the expansion process. So during the compression process, temperature will be raised. 122. So 122 isentropic compression of the air into the inside the compressor. Then 324 will be isentropic expansion. During expansion, temperature is going to decrease. 324. Okay. In the same way, expansion process 4. Like this. 3, 4 expansion process. So this is happening inside the turbine. It is inside the compressor. 1 to 2. Then 2 to 3 is the constant pressure heat addition. Constant pressure line in case of PV diagram will be horizontal. This is 2 to 3. and 4 to 1 is the constant pressure heat rejection process. Again, constant pressure line will be horizontal. This is 4 to 1. So in TS diagram, constant pressure line is an inclined line. It is a curved one. 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. Okay. Now 1 to 2 is the isentropic process. 2 to 3 constant pressure. 3 to 4 also isentropic, that is PV power gamma equals to constant. 4 to 1 pressure is equals to constant. This is PV power gamma equals to constant. Here also entropy is equals to constant, pressure is equals to constant, entropy and pressure. Is this diagrams are clear? PV and TS diagrams?
Yes.
Drawing
Yes.
of PV-TS diagrams,
Yes.
right now. So we have two isentropic process and two constant pressure process. Okay. Now we will derive the thermal efficiency of this cycle. And do you have clear idea about the working? Okay. So air is compressed and the fuel will be added. Thereby the combustion begins. So therefore, due to the burning of fuel in the presence of air, then gases will be liberated. Those gases are allowed to pass through the turbine. Okay, those gases are allowed to pass through the turbine, thereby we are getting the work, right? And these gases are passed through the heat exchanger. After expansion, what will happen? The pressure and temperature will decrease. Those low pressure, low temperature gases will be passed through the heat exchanger. Remaining heat will be liberated. Then only air will be entered into the compressor. Okay, right. So we know thermal. Is it is clear working? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Right. So thermal efficiency can be defined as work done by heat supply. Okay. So what is work done? Work done is equals to heat supplied minus heat rejected divided by heat supply. Okay. Right. We know heat supplied and heat rejection are taking place at constant pressure. Okay. Now tell me, can anyone heat supplied? It is supplied in the combustion chamber and it is take. Yeah. Let us assume mass is unity. Cp into T3 minus T2, because T3 is greater than T2, because due to the addition of temperature, so due to addition of heat, so the temperature is raised from 2 to 3. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now heat rejection is taking place in the heat exchanger. So this temperature, right? So this temperature is greater than this temperature. So therefore Cp into T4 is entry minus T1 is exit. Now we'll substitute this one in a thermal efficiency. Therefore, thermal efficiency is equals to 1 minus Q rejection by Q addition. Q addition will keep A, okay? Heat addition. Supplied or added. So therefore, 1 minus Q rejected. CP can be cancelled from both numerator and denominator. So 1 minus T4 minus T1 by T3 minus T2. Okay, so now what we are going to do? So I want to write the temperatures. Okay, so I want to eliminate the temperatures. Okay, I want to eliminate the temperatures in terms of pressure. Okay, if I take T1 common from the numerator, what will happen? So efficiency is equals to 1 minus, let us take T1 common here and T2 common here. Okay, T1 by T2 if I take common, so T4 divided by T1 minus 1 divided by T3 by T2 minus 1. Okay, right. Now, so 1 to 2 process, it is isentropic process, it is a compression process. Okay, so we know P1 V1 power gamma is equals to P2 V2 power gamma. And apart from that, we know 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, 3 to 1 are constant pressure process. I know 2 to 3 process P2 is equals to P3 and P4 is equals to P1, because these two processes are constant pressure process. Okay, and from the equation of state, we know this is gamma. From the equation of state, we know P1 V1 by T1 is equals to P2 V2 by T2. Now, by using these two equations, write the relation between temperature and pressure. Okay, means I need to eliminate the volume. Okay, right. So from the first equation, V1 by V2 can be written as P2 by P1 whole power 1 by gamma. And from this equation, I can write V1 by V2 as P2 by P1 into T1 by T2. Is it clear? Now you equate right hand side. So what you will get? T1 by T2 is equals to P2 by P1 whole power 1 by gamma minus 1. T1 by T2 is equals to P1 P2 by P1 whole power 1 by gamma minus 1. Right. So if you take 1 minus gamma by gamma, so therefore I can write T1 by T2 is equals to P2 by P1 power 1 minus gamma by gamma. Or I can reciprocate this T2 by T1, I can write. So P2 by P1 power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Right. So T2 by T1. Then T3 by T2 is there, T4 by T1 is there, right? What is P2 by P1? P2 by P1 is also equals to P3 by P4. I can call it as pressure ratio. Pressure ratio. Okay. Now 1 to 2 isentropic compression, then 3 to 4 is also isentropic expansion. Now consider the process. This is 1 to 2 we considered. Now the process 3 to 4. In the same way like this. So P3 V3 power gamma is equals to P4 V4 power gamma. And one more equation, P3 V3 by T3 is equals to P4 V4 by T4. Sorry, P4 V4 by T4, right? Now I want the relation between temperature and pressure. Can anyone tell me? In the same way you tell me. So by using these two, I can write T4 by T3. T4 by T3 is equals to P4 by P3. Can I write?
Yes, sir.
P4 by P3 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Can I write? In the same way what I did for 1 to 2 case, 3 to 4 if you do, you will get like this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is also written as P4 is equals to what? P4 is equals to P1 and P3 is equals to P2. P1 by P2 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. So therefore T4 by T3 by T3 is equals to P1 by P2 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. And further I can reciprocate on both the sides. T3 by T4 is equals to P2 by P1 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, right. So let us assume this is equation 1, this is equation 2, this is equation 3. Now tell me, from equation 2 and 3 what can we write? From equation 2 and 3, from 2 and 3, right hand sides are same. Pressure ratio power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Therefore, I can equate T2 by T1 is equals to T3 by T4. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. From this, I can also written as T3 by T2 by rearranging the terms, T4 by T1. Is it okay?
Yes,
Just
sir.
take the 2 this side and take 4 that side. Okay. Now, so now put equation 4 in equation 1. What you will get? Thermal efficiency is equals to, see, if you keep what we got, T4 by T1 is nothing but T3 by T2, means this 2 will be cancelled. Yes or no? This will be cancelled. You left with 1 minus T1 by T2. 1 minus T1 by T2. Again, we know what is T1 by T2? We know T2 by T1 is equals to here. T2 by T1 is equals to this one. T1 by T2 is nothing but reciprocal of that. Means I can say 1 by pressure ratio RP. Pressure ratio, I can use the symbol R suffix P. 1 by RP power gamma minus 1 by gamma. This is the thermal efficiency of the Brayton cycle. Is this derivation is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, here we can define one quantity. So very simple, right? Just I consider two isentropic process, 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. We eliminated volume and we find the relations between pressure and temperature. That's it. Okay. So we got 1 minus 1 by RP power gamma minus 1 by gamma, where RP is the pressure ratio. That is nothing but high pressure to the low pressure. Pressure ratio, high pressure, low pressure. This is P3, P2 by P1, P2 by P1 or P3 by P4. Okay. Right. So here the part of the work delivered by the turbine is utilized in driving the compressor. So one quantity I can define work ratio. So I can define one quantity. Work ratio is equals to net work by turbine work. What is net work? Tell me, anyone? How to calculate the net work? Network is nothing but turbine work minus compressor work divided by turbine work. This is called as work ratio. Okay, no? Tell me.
Yes, sir. What is
Yes, sir.
T and W?
Right. Sorry.
What is W?
Can you repeat? Turbine.
Double.
Turbine. This is turbine. WT is also turbine. Let it then. I'll make clear. WT. Work ratio is defined as net work to the turbine work. Net work is nothing but turbine work minus compressor work by turbine work. Okay. Right. So what is turbine work? What is the work done by the turbine? So there is the enthalpy difference where it is entering into the turbine. It is at state 3 and leaving at state 4 right now. So therefore H3 minus H4, enthalpy at 3 minus enthalpy at 4. Then compressor work is equals to H2 minus H1. 1 it is entering, 2 it is leaving. Leaving enthalpy is more for the compressor. Entering enthalpy is more for the turbine because it is the expansion device. It is the work producing device. So during the process of work, its enthalpy is going to decrease. Whereas in case of compressor, it is a work consuming device. So therefore, during the process of compression, the enthalpy is going to increase. Further, if you want to write H is equal to Cp into T, so therefore Cp into T3 minus T4 I can write. Here also I can write Cp into T2 minus T1. Right now, so you can substitute. Therefore, you will get the work ratio also. Clear now?
Yes,
Any
sir.
doubt, please ask me. Right. Next cycle we have Rankine cycle. Have you heard the name before?
Reverse of Joule cycle.
Reverse of Joule cycle. No.
Rankine is a constant or something.
So far we discussed all gas power cycles. Okay. So far we discussed gas power cycles, and now we are going to discuss vapor power cycle. Those cycles are called Rankine cycles. Let me see, open the syllabus. Now see the 5th unit. So far we discussed are all gas power cycles, thermodynamic cycles we can say.
Sir, in 5th unit also only problems is there, sir.
Derivation and problem.
Okay, sir.
Okay, we'll get derivation as well as problem. Okay, now, so here if you see in this thermodynamic cycles, so far we discussed till Brayton cycle is over, right now. So these are all what we call gas cycles. Based on the chemical energy of the fuel, it is going to run. Okay, either Otto cycle or diesel cycle or dual cycle. Right now, by using steam, we are going to run the steam turbine. Okay, those cycles are called vapor cycles. Under vapor cycle, we are going to discuss Rankine cycle. Then after vapor cycle, then we will go for the refrigeration cycles. Okay, right. So now this Rankine cycle is the vapor cycle.
Sir, Rankine is unit of temperature.
Yeah. That is absolute unit. Fahrenheit absolute is Rankine. Centigrade, degree centigrade, Kelvin, Fahrenheit and Rankine. Okay. Right. So Joule cycle or Brayton cycle is the basic cycle for the gas turbines, and steam turbines works based on the Rankine cycle. So steam turbine works on the principle of Rankine cycle. Okay. So the main elements of the steam turbine are, we have boiler in order to generate the steam. Then we have turbine, that is steam turbine. Then we have the condenser. And to circulate the water to the boiler we require. So these are the 4 elements of the Rankine cycle. Okay. In Rankine cycle, there will be 4 processes or will be there. Okay. So we'll discuss one by one. Let me draw the line diagram. Boiler. Turbine. Turbine means area should increase from inlet to outlet because it is the expansion device. Then from here, the steam will be discharged to the condenser.
Sir, can you explain again, sir?
Which one?
This
Which
only,
one?
sir, from starting.
Yeah, I'll explain. First, let me complete the figure. Okay. So this is the boiler.
Okay.
This is a steam turbine. So always turbines are the work producing device or expansion device. Therefore, if you see from inlet to outlet, the area is increased. Okay. So the area should increase from inlet to outlet in case of turbine, and in case of compressor, the area should decrease because they are compressing devices. Right. Now this is the streamline. Now the hot water will be collected. Then we are using some feed pump. This pump will suck the water from here and will deliver from the boiler. We will get the steam. Right. Let me draw the structure. Okay, right. Now, what is a boiler? Boiler is also called as the steam generator. Boiler is called as the steam generator. So it is used to convert the water into steam. Okay, so in boiler we are adding the heat. Heat will be added, therefore the water is converted into the steam. Right? So this steam is allowed to pass through the blades of the turbine. Means the steam is allowed to expand over the blades of the steam turbine, thereby we are getting the work. Right? So after expansion, so what happens to the property of the steam? The properties, the quality of the steam will be decreased due to expansion. Okay, so here, so entry will be vapor and exit will be partly vapor plus liquid. Partly vapor plus liquid, right? So due to the expansion, what will happen? It loses its quality. Okay, it loses its temperature and pressure. Therefore, the vapor will be converted to liquid, right? So this vapor plus liquid is allowed to pass through the condenser. So condenser, this is the inlet, inlet, water outlet. Sorry. So here, this is the cold water. Means water will be circulated, cold water, and hot water is out. So water will be circulated inside the condenser and the steam is allowed to pass over the pipes of the water. Therefore, what will happen? The heat exchange will take place or heat transfer will take place through the conduction and convection, and this water will become hot by absorbing the heat from the vapor plus liquid leaving from the turbine. Or I can say this steam is losing its latent heat in the condenser. Steam is losing its latent heat in the condenser, and only hot water will be collected in this well, hot well, you can say hot water well, right? From this hot water well, by using the pump, we can pump the water to the boiler and the cycle will repeat. And here the important thing is the steam is expanded in the turbine to the condenser pressure. The steam is expanded to the condenser pressure. Therefore, we can extract more amount of work from the turbine. Okay, right. So these are the main four elements of the Rankine cycle. Any doubt in this working? Please tell me.
No, sir.
Right. So let us say at state 1, the steam is entering. Let me change the color. Right. We'll drop PVT as up. At state 1, the steam is entering into the turbine. At 2, it is leaving from the turbine. 2 to 3, we can say condensation. Then 3 to 4, let us say 3 to 3 dash, let us say 3 dash, pumping. Then 3 dash to 1 is usually water will be added to the boiler, right? Now let me complete the PV diagram. In order to understand the PVTS diagram of this Rankine cycle, you should know some concept of PV and let us say psychrometric charts. Okay, PVTS, right? Right. In psychrometric chart, if you see, there will be, we have this line. So this line is called saturated liquid line. This line is called saturated liquid line, and this line is called saturated vapor. Means the condition is liquid here, left line, right line is the vapor line. This saturated liquid line and vapor line are intersecting at a point. I can call that point as the critical point. Right? So above the critical point, the gas will behave as a perfect gas. So left side line is the liquid line, right side line is the vapor line. Means this is pure liquid here, this is pure vapor. In between liquid line and vapor line, it is two-phase mixture. It is combination of liquid and vapor. Got the point? So this is single phase liquid. This is also single phase, but in between liquid line and vapor line, I have liquid plus vapor. It is a two-phase mixture. And if you move right side of that one, it will be superheated. Superheated. And if you move left side of this one, this will be subcooled liquid. Subcooled liquid, right? And below this line, we have solid. We have solid, right? So usually, if you remember, let us consider a bowl and it contains some water. Okay, let us say it is open to the atmosphere, and if you heat the water, tell me at what temperature water starts boiling?
If it is exposed to temperature 100 degrees.
If it is open to atmosphere and we are adding heat to this water, the boiling temperature is 100 degrees centigrade. Now when it is opened, it's not covered. What is the pressure acting on that? It is 1 atmosphere. Agree? When the pressure acting on the water is 1 atmosphere, the boiling temperature is 100 degrees centigrade. Suppose if you close this lid, right? Or else let us assume if the pressure is less than atmosphere, if you reduce the pressure, then the boiling temperature is also reduced. Boiling temperature reduced by reducing the pressure. Got the point? If you reduce the pressure of the pressure acting on the liquid, its boiling temperature also reduced by reducing the pressure. Okay, right. Now again, this temperature, this 100 degrees centigrade temperature is called saturation temperature of the water. This is the saturation temperature of the water, and this is the saturated liquid line, and this is the saturated vapor line. Okay, right. Now, if I select a point on this line, the state is liquid. If I select any point on this line, it is the vapor. If the point is left side of this line, it is the combination of two-phase mixture. If it is right side of that, it is superheated. It is again superheated, only single phase only. Okay, clear this one? You should know what is saturated liquid line, what is saturated vapor line. We'll discuss in detail in 4th unit. That is the in steam cycles. Our 4th unit is what? Properties of the fluids. Okay, so there we will study in more details about the properties of the steam and how to use the steam tables, how to use the Moller diagram. Okay, so there you will get more idea. Time being, you remember what is saturated liquid line, what is saturated vapor line, what is superheated state. Okay, right. So we are discussing Rankine cycle. So TS diagram. Okay, right. As we know, this is saturated liquid line, and we have saturated vapor line. This is saturated vapor line. Okay, right. So now the movement. Now tell me, what is the state here? At 1, what is the state of the steam? It is saturated vapor. Agree? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Means the point 1 should be on this line. Do you agree if I keep point 1 over here?
Yes, sir.
It is vapor, right now. So the point 1 is this one right now. Here in TS diagram, the expansion is isentropic expansion. Always expansion of the steam or compression of the air will take place. Isentropic means during this process, no question of adding the heat or rejecting the heat. So isentropic process is also called as reversible adiabatic process. During the adiabatic process, Q equals to 0. That is the reason when the steam is expanding or air is compressing, it should follow isentropically. Okay, so isentropic line will be vertical 1 to 2. As I said, the steam leaving the turbine will be two-phase mixture. If you see here, what is the here liquid plus vapor is coming.
Yes, sir.
Can you see here? Right. Therefore, what is the phase here? This is liquid plus vapor only. It is two-phase only. Please reply. Yes or no?
Yes,
This is a
that state
combination
two.
of liquid plus vapor. Yeah, right now. Now tell me where point 3 lies. Point 3 lies should be on this line or right of line or left of line. So the point 3 is after condensation, it will be just water, hot water. Right? Can I keep point 3 over here after condensation?
Yes, sir.
Please tell me. Right. So this is 2 to 3 condensation. Okay, na? Right. Again, as I told just now, the pump work always should be isentropic. So 3 to 3 dash. 3 to 3 dash. To this let us 3 dash. This is the compression of or pumping of water to the boiler. Okay. Then 3 dash to 4. Okay. So 3 dash to 4. Let us say this is state 4. Let us say 3 dash to 4. What is this one? What can we say?
Water.
Heat addition. Yes or no? Heat addition in the boiler. Heat addition at constant pressure. So again, one more thing. In TS diagram, these lines represents constant pressure. Can you see yellow line? Or can I change the color? Okay. Like this. This line is called constant pressure line. Okay, on this line, wherever you select a point, the pressure remains constant. In TS diagram, these lines are called constant pressure lines. Okay, on this line, wherever you measure, the pressure is constant, right? Means the heating of the water takes place at constant pressure. Okay, so the point 4 lies on saturated liquid line. Then 4 to 1 will be heat addition at constant pressure. So this is the boiler, this is the turbine, this is the condenser, and this is the pumping. We can say pump. This is TS diagram. Whereas coming to PV diagram, expansion, isentropic expansion 1 to 2. Okay, then 2 to 3 constant pressure, heat rejection. The condensation process is constant pressure process. Then 3 to 3 dash. 3 to 3 dash is isentropic compression process, and 3 dash to 4 somewhere constant pressure. 4 to 1 is also constant pressure process. So this is the turbine. This is the turbine. Then this is the compressor, and this is the pump, and this is the boiler. In boiler, we are adding the heat. Okay, just go through the PV and TS diagram. If you any doubt, please ask me.
Sir, 3 to 2. In the TS
3
diagram,
to
3 to 2 is not lying on the pressure
2 to
line or
3.
pressure line.
2 to 3. 2 to 3.
3 to, yes, sir. 3 to 2, sir.
1 second. 3 to 2 will not be, only 2 to 3. Right. See here, in as I told, in TS diagram, these lines are called constant pressure lines. Right. So if you see at this instant of time, this is constant pressure line. Here P is equals to constant. That pressure is different. This is condenser pressure. That is boiler pressure. This is boiler pressure. This is condenser pressure. You can see this pressure is boiler pressure. This pressure is condenser pressure. P2 is equals to P3, right? Same, you can see this is the constant pressure line. This is the constant pressure line. On constant pressure line, this P2 is equals to P3. And on this constant pressure line, P1 is equals to P4 is equals to P3 dash.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Others, please tell me. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we'll derive the efficiency of Rankine cycle. So the efficiency of Rankine is equals to net work by heat input, work done by heat supplied, heat added. Right. So what is net work? Turbine work minus pump work. Yes or no? By heat addition. Turbine work minus pump work by heat addition. What is turbine work? Turbine work is enthalpy drop at watts it is entering. At state 1, the steam is entering. At state 2, the steam is leaving. Yes or no? Therefore, turbine work I can write as H1 minus H2. And pump work at what it is entering at 3, leaving at 3 dash, right? But leaving enthalpy is more than entering enthalpy. Therefore, H3 dash minus H3 is the pump work. Okay. Then heat addition. So where we are adding heat? We are adding heat in the boiler. Yes or no? From where to where we are adding heat? 3 dash to 1 we are adding heat. Okay. So heat input is from 3 dash to 1. So 1 enthalpy is more. Therefore, I can write H1 minus H3 dash. H1 minus H3 dash. So therefore, if you substitute all those things, so what we will get? Efficiency of Rankine is equals to turbine work H1 minus H2 minus pump work H3 dash minus H3 divided by H1 minus H3 dash. H1 minus H3 dash, right? So in the denominator, add plus H3 and subtract minus H3. What you will get? So H1 minus H2 minus H3 dash minus H3 divided by H1 minus H3 minus of H3 dash minus H3. What is this H3 dash minus H3? This is nothing but pump work. This is also pump work. Agree? When compared to the turbine work, pump work is very small. Pump work is very small when compared to turbine work. Therefore, WP can be neglected. If you neglect the pump work, then efficiency of Rankine is equals to H1 minus H2 divided by H1 minus H3. This is the efficiency of the Rankine cycle. Efficiency of the Rankine cycle. Okay, and I want to say something here in TS diagram. What is this line? Can anyone say? What, these black lines?
Constant pressure lines.
Constant pressure lines. Okay. Now, if the point is here, I can call it as saturated vapor.
Yes, sir.
And if the point lies above this one, I can call it as superheated. It is superheated vapor, or I can say superheated steam. This is, I can say on the vapor line, this is dry and saturated. Dry and saturated. Dry and saturated. Usually, the quality of the steam is expressed in terms
Wetness
of
fraction.
dryness fraction. Okay, yeah, dryness or wetness fraction. Dryness fraction or wetness fraction. Okay, na? Right. So now, so in terms of dryness fraction, if the steam is dry and saturated, I can denote with symbol X. X is equals to 1 means it is dry and saturated. It is X equal to 1 means it is dry and saturated. X greater than 1, it is superheated. X greater than 1, it is superheated. And X less than 1, it is the wet steam, I can say. If dryness fraction is less than 1, means the point will lies in between liquid and vapor. Where is cursor? Yeah, here. If X less than 1, between these liquid line and vapor line, the dryness fraction is less than 1. Okay, and on this line, this is X equals to 1. If you move right side, the x is greater than 1. Clear this Rankine cycle? All steam turbines works on Rankine cycle. Okay, all steam turbines works on Rankine cycle. Right. So if you recall, I already discussed about reversed Carnot cycle. Agree? In third unit, I discussed about reversed Carnot cycle. The other name is, so on reversed Carnot cycle, what are working? Heat pump and refrigerator works on reversed Carnot cycle. I already explained the derivation of COP also. Once go through it. If you forget also, go through the video. I already discussed, right? So if you simply reverse the processes of Carnot cycle, get the reverse Carnot, right? So usually in Carnot cycle, it will go like this. To isentropic process, to adiabatic process. Agree? And if you reverse these directions, so this is X, right? If you reverse all these directions, we are getting reversed Carnot cycle. That is the working of heat pump or refrigerator. Right now, I am not discussing about the reversed Carnot cycle. Okay, so you can go through that video if you want. If anybody missed that class. Okay. Now I'll discuss vapor compression. So reversed Carnot cycle is over, already discussed. Yeah, now we'll discuss Bell-Coleman cycle. So Bell-Coleman cycle is again refrigerators works on Bell-Coleman cycle, or I can call it as a reversed Carnot cycle also. Okay, right. So can anyone know, at least I already explained, right? Can anyone explain how a refrigerator works? What are the main elements of refrigerator? I already explained in the second unit. What are the main elements of a refrigerator?
Compressor, condenser,
Compressor,
evaporator, expansion valve.
evaporator, expansion.
Expansion
Very
valve.
good. Yeah. Can you throw light on working of refrigerator? How refrigerator works?
Work refrigerator, we should supply work, sir.
Removes the heat from the body, sir.
If we supply work,
Sorry?
it will eject the
Where heat will be added, where it will be rejected.
Heat will be added into atmosphere, sir, and heat will be rejected from the body.
Heat will be absorbed from evaporator. Yes or no? See, if you see the refrigerator, I'll explain. Let us say this is our refrigerator. Okay, right. So here I have freezer. This is my freezer. Right. Here I have some racks over there. Okay, right. Now, so backside of this refrigerator, we have this structure. These wire mesh will be there. Agreed? I think you can see for LG. For Samsung, it will be inbuilt. Right?
Yes, sir.
For LG, you can see even Whirlpool also you can see outside. The black mesh will be there, right? All small pipes will be connected. Okay. Now, this is our condenser. This is our condenser, right? And backside at the bottom, if you see, there will be open and a black color cylindrical drum will be there. Right, so this is the compressor. Okay, and after compressor, then there will be one valve, expansion valve will be there, and it will be connected to the evaporator. This is my evaporator. Evaporator is our freezer, and this is the expansion valve. And from compressor, condenser, expansion, evaporator, right? So the series will be like this. The sequence from the evaporator, it is connected to the compressor, compressor to the condenser, condenser to the expansion, then expansion to the evaporator. So first compressor it will go, compressor to condenser, condenser to expansion valve or capillary, and from expansion to evaporator. So evaporator is our freezer. Okay. So usually in refrigerator, it is, as I told, it is a reversed Carnot cycle. Okay, a reversed heat engine, right? So this is your refrigerator, and this is your evaporator, and this is your atmosphere. Okay, so it takes heat from the evaporator and it will supply to the atmosphere, right? And in order to do this, because this is a lower temperature body and it is higher temperature body, it is extracting heat from the body under lower temperature and rejecting heat to the body under high temperature. This is Q2, Q1. In order to occur this, we need to supply work. So that's why the refrigerator is a work consuming device. Okay, refrigerator is a work consuming device. Okay. This is the evaporator, right? Now, so here in the evaporator, the liquid refrigerant will absorb the heat. In the evaporator, the liquid refrigerant absorbs the heat. Okay, so thereby it will be converted into the vapor form. Okay, so the property of refrigerant should be, it should have low boiling temperature. So by adding the heat, it should be converted into vapor. Okay, so therefore this vapor, right, after evaporator, what is the thing next will be after evaporator? It is connected to the compressor. The compressor sucks low pressure vapor from the evaporator and it will send it to the condenser. Compressor, what is the work of compressor? The input line to the compressor is from the evaporator. The output of the compressor is supplied to the condenser. This low pressure vapor is sent to the condenser. In the condenser, the vapor loses its latent heat. In the condenser, the vapor loses its latent heat and it will be converted into liquid, right? And it will be high pressure liquid, high pressure and temperature liquid, right? So this high pressure and temperature liquid is allowed to pass through the expansion valve, thereby its pressure will be decreased. Its pressure will be decreased, right? So that low pressure and moderate temperature drop also takes place while it is allowed to pass through the expansion valve. So the low pressure and moderate temperature refrigerant is allowed to pass through the evaporator. There it absorbs the heat and thereby it will be converted into vapor form and the cycle repeats. This is actual working of refrigerator. Clear this one? This one I already explained while discussing COP of heat pump or refrigerator.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we will see Bell-Coleman cycle. Similar to this one only. Bell-Coleman, right? First, let me draw the line diagram. So we have compressor. So compressor is of rotary type. So we have some auxiliary device to drive the compressor. So this is the drive to run the compressor. because here we are not getting any work, right? We need to supply from external source. From this compressor, it will go to the evaporator, let us say. So not evaporator, refrigerator. You can call cooler, air cooler, heat exchanger, I can say. Air cooler or heat exchanger. And here we have expansion cylinder. Then I have evaporator over here. Going in, coming out. Now, compressor. So this is the evaporator. So this is the expansion cylinder. It acts as an expansion valve also. You can call it as expansion cylinder, or we have expansion valve. So compressor, condenser, this one. Condenser or air cooler or heat exchanger, expansion or evaporator. 4 elements, similar to normal our refrigerator, right? So in Bell-Coleman cycle, the working fluid is air. Okay, so we are using air as the working fluid. Okay, now, so this is the air compressor. But at state 1, it sucks the air from here. State 1, and compressed air will be, this is compressed air. After compressor, the pressure will be increased. Compressed air. Okay, and this is the, what is the condition of this one? This will be hot due to compression. And after the condenser, let us say here we are using water as the medium to cool the air. So therefore, I am getting here cold compressed air. So this process is taking place again at constant pressure. Therefore, there is no change in the pressure. Cold compressed air is coming from the air cooler or heat exchanger. It also called as a condenser. Okay, and this at state 2, the entry is at 3. High pressure, low temperature air is allowed to pass through the expansion cylinder, and its pressure is drops, and let us say this is 0.4. And this low temperature air is allowed to pass through the refrigerator, whereby this low temperature air absorbs the heat from the refrigerator. Okay, so this is the refrigerator chamber, right? So it absorbs the heat from the evaporator, thereby its temperature rises. So therefore, this is the warm, this is cold air, cold high pressure air. This is cold.
Excuse me, sir.
Pressure. Yeah.
I cannot screen. I cannot see the screen, sir.
Only you or others?
I can see, sir.
Don't know.
Yeah, you are using a mobile or laptop? The person
Mobile
who can't
only.
see.
Mobile only, sir.
Mobile.
I am using.
Okay, let me cancel the sharing again. I'll share.
Tell him to log in again, sir.
I think can see my. Huh?
If we leave the meeting and log in
Okay,
again.
right now I'm saying again. Okay, because it may cost 1 hour, right? Maybe
Yes,
some data issues maybe. So yeah, as he said, log out and log in, or leave the meeting and join again. Now I am sharing the screen once again. Now you see. Now others can see the screen.
Yes, sir. Now
Yes, sir.
it's visible, sir.
Right. So this is the cold compressed air. Cold compressed air is allowed to pass through the expansion cylinder, thereby its pressure drops. Yes, it is low pressure. Cold, low pressure air. Right. So this air is our refrigerant now, medium, So this air has to absorb the heat from the evaporator. Thereby, this air temperature is increased. Therefore, warm air is coming out of the evaporator. This warm air is allowed to pass through the compressor, and thereby its pressure and temperature will be increased. Again, we are dropping its temperature by passing it through the air cooler or condenser. Okay, and this cold compressed air of same pressure is allowed to pass through the expansion. During this expansion, pressure drops. So pressure drops takes place, or I can say enthalpy drop also, right? Because H is equals to Cp into T, or you can say H is equals to U plus PV. Okay, so during the expansion process, enthalpy drop takes place. Okay, and if you draw PVTS diagrams, PV diagram 1 to 2, as I said, it is isentropic compression. 1 to 2, it is the isentropic compression. Then 2 to 3, 2 to 3, it is
So it is not a
constant.
vertical line.
Yes, yes, it is PV diagram, right? Okay, right, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Let me draw TS diagram also parallel so that it will become easy. In TS diagram, I can draw vertical line, right?
Yes, sir.
1 to 2. In PV diagram, it is curve 1 to 2 compression. Then 2 to 3 constant pressure heat rejection process. 2 to 3 constant pressure heat rejection process. Here constant pressure heat rejection process. How it will be? This is constant pressure line. 2 to 3. Again 3 to 4 isentropic expansion process. Then 4 to 1 constant pressure heat addition process. Here also 3 to 4 isentropic and 4 to 1 constant. Now is it is okay? PVTS diagram, check it once. Check the properties. I'll write here 1 to 2. It is compression. Due to compression, what happened? Temperature is increased, pressure is also increased. You can see state point to high pressure, state point to high temperature. 2 to 3, it is the cooling process. Cooling process. During cooling process, temperature drops by maintaining pressure constant. At 3 to pressure is constant. Again 3 to 4, it is isentropic expansion process. Therefore, entropy is constant. Entropy is constant. Due to expansion, its temperature is dropped from state 3 to state 4, 3 to 4. Okay, you can see here 3 to 4. Due to the expansion, its pressure also decreased. Then 4 to 1, by maintaining pressure constant, we are adding the heat. So if you add the heat, the volume will increase. Therefore, volume is increased from 4 to 1. And by adding the heat, entropy is also increased. Okay, so this is PV and TS diagram. Any doubt in this one? Just go through once.
No, sir.
Right, so PV and TS diagram. Now we can derive the COP of the system. Okay, so 1 to 2, the warm air leaving the refrigerator chamber at state point 1 enters the compressor where it is compressed isentropically. So during the compression, there is increase in both temperature and pressure from 1 to 2, right now. Whereas in 2 to 3, the hot compressed air leaving the compressor passes through the pipes which are immersed in the circulating water. Okay, so the heat is rejected to the water by maintaining pressure P2 equals to P3 constant, and temperature is decreased to T3. You can see 2 to 3 temperature is also decreased. Then the air is allowed to pass through the expander. Okay, so during expansion process, pressure drops, as we know, right? 3 to 4, you can see the pressure is decreased. Okay, the temperature is below the, now you can see at point 4, the temperature should be below the temperature of the evaporator. Then only it can take the heat. Agree? Because as we know, always heat will flow from body under high temperature. Body under high temperature to the body under low temperature. Agree? This is the natural phenomena. always heat will flow from body under high temperature to the low temperature, right? So in order to occur, the temperature of evaporator should be greater than the temperature of air, or I can say the temperature of air leaving the expansion cylinder should be less than the temperature of the evaporator. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Where you are observing refrigerating effect? Now tell me. Where you are getting refrigerating effect?
Evaporator.
What is my question? Refrigeration, yes, refrigerating effect is taking place from 4 to 1. Agree? Refrigerating effect is taking place from 4 to 1. Now,
Yes, sir.
now tell me, yeah. Now tell me, heat absorbed. Heat absorbed. Heat is absorbing. I can say it is refrigerating effect also. Heat absorbed in the evaporator. Heat absorbed equals to Cp into leaving enthalpy will be increased because of addition of phase. Cp into T1 minus T1. T4. Agree? Heat is absorbed in the evaporator. So that is a leaving enthalpy is greater than entering enthalpy. T1 minus T4. Okay. And heat is rejected to the circulating water. Heat rejected is equals to, so entering enthalpy is more here. T2 minus T3. Agree? Cp into T2 minus T3. Okay. So work input to dry the compressor. So how to define COP? COP is equals to refrigerating effect by work done. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? And we can say W is equals to Q1 minus Q2.
Yes, sir.
Right? If you recall the refrigerator, this is Q2, sorry, Q1, and this is Q2. And if you see, this is W. If you apply the energy balance, W plus Q2 is equals to Q1, and W is equals to Q1 minus Q2. Agree? Okay. Where Q1 is the heat rejected, Q2 is the heat absorbed. Agree?
Yes, sir.
This is the heat absorbed, and this is the heat rejected. Okay. So therefore, I can write. So this is absorbed heat. This is absorbed heat, and this is the rejected heat. Therefore, W is equals to Cp into T1 minus T4 minus Cp into T2 minus T3. Clear this one? Work done? Therefore,
Yes, sir.
COP is equals to, yeah, COP is equals to refrigerating effect by work done. So this heat absorbed is nothing but my refrigerating effect only. This is the evaporator. Yes or no? Right? So therefore,
Yes, sir.
Cp into T1 minus T4 whole divided by work done is this one. Cp into T1 minus T4 T1 minus T4 minus Cp into T2 minus T3. The Cp will be cancelled. T1 minus T4 divided by T1 minus T4 minus T2 minus T3. Okay. So here also we can take T1 common, T4 if you take T3 common, T4, T3. Yeah, we can keep like this, or we can simplify also. Okay. So it's okay. If you know temperatures, we can calculate the COP of the system. Okay, so with this we'll stop today. So in next class we will discuss